Let us begin.
Hi guys, how are you doing? I hope you are all doing very well. I am very much tapping into the Y2K aesthetic today with my little crop top and my baggy.
The only thing that I'll say about this YouTuber, this video is pretty good, I think, but the only thing that I'm going to say is my culture is not your costume. Please stop appropriating millennial culture. Thank you.
Jeans. I will put a video up here. This outfit was actually gifted to me from Emule Store. They sent this outfit to me a few months ago. It's absolutely one of my favorites. Like, it's kind of giving Tony Hawk. It's also kind of giving a little bit Avril Lavigne. I don't know. Maybe I'm stupid. That's
Death and
just the way I
despair.
see it. So,
Also, spoiler alert for anybody who cares, Avril Lavigne actually fucks ass live, just for the record.
turns out, my video from 2 weeks ago talking about Louis McClung and Denki Jabo did not age quite well. I went into that video trying to give a little bit of a more nuanced perspective. A lot of creators I noticed when they were responding to that whole situation, they were very, 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 very harsh with both Louis and Cataclysm. And don't get me wrong, they f***ed up, right? I'm acknowledging that. But what I initially thought was just an isolated instance of negligence as far as like researching and jumping to conclusions. It turns out I was completely wrong because actually
Fake
it
millennials
turns
are
out
everywhere.
it's a pattern of behavior for Louis McClung. So yeah, this is in fact not an isolated instance, but a consistent pattern of
Bro,
behavior.
what the fuck is...
It seems
What the fuck is wrong with my wiggler? Why is he not wiggling? Oh my god, he's been killed! What happened? Oh no! What happened to him? Oh my god. Oh, there we go. I fixed him. Okay, we're good.
Louis has made very similar allegations against other creators, like with Denki Jabo in the past few months. And I think this is something that needs to be called out. You know, I wanted to be careful, right? Because obviously people just keep talking about Louis and every single new thing I see. You know, initially I kind of was like, you know, okay, like everyone's just sort of dogpiling on this kid. Like he made a mistake, like let it go. But it's different when it's a pattern of behavior. And this was only brought to my attention literally today. So I want to talk about it because I think it's very important.
Talk about
and
it, Queen.
as
Tell
I'll
me
get
about
into
it.
later on, it's incredibly dangerous to
Tell me about it, Avril Lavigne.
carelessly and recklessly make allegations against creators with very little research and evidence just to get content out there and to get engagement and views. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. And just to give you guys a trigger warning, we are going to be talking about themes of pedophilia, racism, as well as body image and things like that. So just keep that in mind moving forward. So recently I was scrolling in the r/YouTube drama subreddit because I am a degenerate who goes on Reddit 24/7, not 24/7, but I go on Reddit a lot, right?
Love that
And I
for
just
you,
want to see what
Queen.
people are talking about. And of course, everyone's like kind of talking about Destiny because that's like the big thing that's happening right now. But I start seeing these threads, and these threads with the title that Louis McClung is dangerous and he needs to be stopped. And I'm like, okay, guys, like come on, like this is just a little tad over the top. Like, I think we need to relax. But curiosity got the better of me. So I start looking at these screenshots, and they are in reference to a video he had made 4 months ago. And basically, what people were saying in these comments was that he got a lot of this information wrong. And I'm like, this was from 4 months ago. And people, like, there were tons of comments. And actually, Louis was kind of pushing back on it. Like, people were claiming, hey, you didn't do your research. A lot of these claims you're making have been proven false. And he's like coming back being like, well, I did 4 hours of research and, you know, just kind of doubling down. So I start looking into it. And oh boy.
Oh boy. Tell me about it,
he
Queen.
got it wrong.
Tell me about it, Queen.
He got it wrong. So about 4 months ago now, Louis made a video making allegations against a creator known as Pumpkin the Gentleman. Now, we are just going to call him Pumpkin because I am not saying that mouthful every time I need to address this person.
Ooh, Ethel, if you're watching this, trigger warning pumpkins. Sorry.
In this video. Now, Louis has since deleted this video, but someone did re-upload it, and I will include clips in reference to some of the claims he makes and when I'm addressing them. But despite deleting the video, he has yet to make any kind of apology or statement going back on the allegations he made. So 4 months ago, Pumpkin faced a lot of allegations dealing with, like I said, pedophilia, grooming, as well as possibly faking his race and his body type, which that's a lot, okay? That's like, holy shit, like what's going on?
Faking
going
his
on?
race
So
and his
tweets
body
and
type.
had surfaced that suggested that he might be attracted to children, that he might be lying about his race. As it turns out, a lot of these instances were either taken out of context, or the people involved were not proven to be minors, or some of it was just straight up fabricated evidence. So I'm going to go into Louis's video, and what I'm going to do is every claim he makes, I am going to then rebuttal it with the claims that Pumpkin makes in his response video to the allegation. So Louis first starts his video by drawing parallels with Pumpkin to people like Ava Chris Tyson and Dr. Disrespect. And this will become a little bit more relevant later on once we go through some of the allegations. This is something that Louis actually does a lot. If you look at a lot of his content, when he's dealing with themes of like pedophilia and grooming especially, he will often compare whoever he's talking about to other groomers, pedophiles within the creator community.
The Ava Chris Tysons of the world, all the Dr. Disrespects of the world.
So he then goes on and brings up the fact that Pumpkin is a hypersexual or experiences hypersexuality. Now, hypersexuality is a condition where a person might experience significant distress as a result of uncontrollable urges to engage in sexual activity. Now, this is something that negatively affects a lot of people who experience it, but according to Lewis, he makes the claim that Pumpkin kind of identifies with it more as a sexuality versus a condition or a disorder, and that he flaunts it. However, he does not provide any evidence to support this.
And in his own words, being a hypersexual, which if you don't know what a hypersexual person is, also known as compulsive sexual behavior, it really means just somebody who is unable to stop themselves from having urges. It really is a disorder, okay? It's something that people struggle with, and it's something that people have to deal with in their day-to-day life. You know, they have to learn how to work around, like anxiety or depression, okay? But the way the gentleman pumpkin, or pumpkin gentleman, more like pumpkin doofus, am I right? The way he explains it is it's like a sexuality, right? It's like a thing that he chose, all right? It's who he is, it's what he wants to be, when other people in the world actually have to, you know, struggle with it.
Now, the hypersexuality claim is something that Pumpkin will address later on in his video, and Lewis brings this up once again, so I will address that a little bit more when he brings it up later in this video in regards to the allegations that he makes. So Lewis goes on to then cite his first example of Pumpkin possibly being attracted to children or being a pedophile. Basically, what had happened is Pumpkin shared a drawing, a somewhat inappropriate drawing, to his account. Now, this would normally be fine. However, as it turns out, his account was 16 plus, so there were minors on this platform.
It all started with a
not very good.
Of people saying,
not
hey,
good.
make this, make your OC in this. Everybody in the NSFW art community, get on this, all right? It's time. But of course, Mr. Gentle Loser, seeing himself as a bit of a connoisseur when it comes to this stuff, he said, oh, hold my metaphorical beer because I'm 19 going on 20. I can't drink yet, but hold it as I make this. Oh, man. Okay, I can't show you all of it, obviously, but just know that there's a bit of an erectile thing going on below, okay?
An erectile thing?
I see stuff
Okay.
like this on Twitter all the time. Literally, you can't look anything up on Twitter without seeing something along those lines. You just can't. And to that I say, no, it's not a problem at all. Unless your account is set and said to be for people of the age of 16. 16. All right, let me get something clear that I don't think a lot of people...
Lewis, did you just say sexuality as a choice? I think the even more icky thing here is that if this dude, you know, claims to have hypersexuality, if that's a disorder, that's also something that is entirely outside of your control. Obviously, you can choose to indulge or to refrain from engaging with whatever may afflict you, of course, right? But even in the context of saying, oh, well, he's choosing, you know, to be hypersexual. It's like, if you want to make that criticism, you would very pointedly say, like, he's choosing to indulge with his hypersexuality in a reckless way. Because even if you are somebody who's hypersexual, I don't think that indulging in that is necessarily bad unless you're doing it in an unsafe or an irresponsible way. So yeah, that's a really fucking weird way to say that, sure.
People understand 16 years old is a kid. Gentle creep here, having 16 plus in his bio means that he thinks that it's okay to be like, hey, 16-year-olds, come to my account, all right? Come interact with me and talk to me. That alone is creepy. Of course, if you're making art that looks like this, and it's like your whole MO, your whole brand is that you're like, I make NSFW art. I have an NSFW account, which is now private.
Revenge of the Sexy Pumpkins essence of thought is so fucking vindicated.
And I tried to follow it. Wait, let me check if he let me in. Oh, he didn't let me in. Maybe he's scared.
Now, of course, a lot of people called Pumpkin out, being like, your platform is 16 plus, you should not be sharing this type of content and these types of drawings on your profile. So Pumpkin addresses this by apologizing, stating that he was clearly in the wrong. He says he fully understands that he was in the wrong, and he was not trying to harm anyone, nor was he trying to engage inappropriately with anyone under the age of 18. So he then set his profile to 18 plus. Now, Lewis acknowledges this response, but he kind of dismisses it.
Down. See, all of that is great. All of that's awesome. If you haven't literally tried to justify doing these things, okay? You do not get to claim ignorance or not knowing or being ignorant to what people are telling you when you literally respond competently to what they are saying to you.
Now, of course, obviously, this was a bad mistake on Pumpkin's part, right? This was definitely a negligent move to post this to your account where it is 16 plus. You should have known better. But there was no real evidence that he was, in fact, engaging inappropriately with minors, right? He had just shared this drawing to his profile, but the insinuation that he was engaging inappropriately with minors, that is not what happened. That is a misrepresentation of this incident. And of course, once he realizes his mistake, he apologizes and he changes his profile settings to 18 plus, which is what...
It's kind of funny. The person who made this looks like the woman version of Louis McClung. I disavow. I'm shaking my head as I read that comment. That's very inappropriate. But like, I mean, I just don't know what... So... with what we have presented to us right here in front of God and everybody is like, this dude was horny posting on Maine, and then his account was 16 plus, not 18 plus at the time. And then everybody was like, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you have people that are interacting with you that are under the age of, 18, while you're, gooning on Maine. That's fucked up. And the dude was like, you know what? You're right. Shit. My bad. That was fucked up. I'm going to change the settings on my profile now so that doesn't happen again. Like, that was a mistake. My bad. That's like kind of the response that you would want, right? Like, obviously we can torture somebody to death for not having foresight. I mean, obviously I don't think that you should be horny posting on Maine anyway. That's just my personal opinion. But nonetheless, I mean, it's like the dude was literally like, yeah, that was actually fucked up. My bad. Like, is that not the response that you want? Like, is that not the ideal response there? Like, what was the alternative here? I'm curious.
Someone in that situation would do. That is the right choice to make. However, Lewis dismisses this apology pretty much, stating that there are some things that you just can't take back, and then also makes a parallel between Cody Ko and Pumpkin, once again drawing parallels between Pumpkin and actual predators. He claims that if you were intentionally trying to engage inappropriately with minors, then you can't take that back, which is true, but there is no evidence that he was intentionally trying to engage with minors. So Lewis then goes on to cite another.
And I think that this is a pretty fair thing where it's like, just because he was like, oh fuck, like I didn't even think about the fact that my account was like 16 plus or whatever the fuck, like that, just because he like fucked up in not thinking about the demographic, like the age demographic of his Twitter profile or whatever the fuck, doesn't mean that he was like, wow, I can't wait for droves of minors to respond to this so I can predate upon them. Like, just this alone, I'm like, this is pretty fucking, this is a big deal. Like, you shouldn't be horny posting when there's minors around, certainly. But it's like it doesn't read to me like he was like, wow, I can't wait to like goon out on Maine so all the fucking children can come and interact with my horny post. You know what I mean? I don't read it that way. And then he also was like, yeah, that was actually fucked up. My bad. I'm going to change my settings. That was a mistake. Like, that's kind of the response that you would want, no?
Another example of this behavior where he shows a post that Pumpkin had made that has a ruler, it has a pen, and in the corner you can see his bulge.
This is the least blurred photo I can find of it, but I'm sure you can infer what's going on. This image was posted on General when it wasn't private yet.
Oh no!
And the blurred part is a very
right to jail.
Well-defined outline of his bulge, okay? And
right to jail.
That's not for 16-year-olds, you 19-year-old weirdo.
Right to jail.
The picture was captioned with, "This is the closest you will ever get to a dick pic," and he shared this to his 16 plus platform, or so Lewis said. Turned out that's not actually what happened at all. Now, if this were true, this would be horrendous, but Lewis did not do his due diligence because, as it turns out, this is very much a mischaracterization of what actually happened here. So this post was originally shared to one of Pumpkin's other accounts, which is a strictly 18 plus NSFW, which is a not safe for work account. This is an account that is strictly for 18 plus and not safe for.
Oh, so God, imagine fucking that up that hard. Like, oh my God, he was caught again horny posting on Maine to like the children of the world, but it was actually on like his private not safe for work Twitter account that was age gated. How did he not know that? Yeah, how did he not know that? How did he not know that that was like on his own private, like not safe for work, like 18 plus account? Like, did he just like close his eyes? I don't understand how you would fuck that. If he did like, what did he say? He said he did like 4 hours of research for this video or whatever. How did he not know that this instance right here was to a private not safe for work account that he had? What a dumb fuck, dude. What a dumb fuck.
For work, so anything in there might be things like nudity, sexual, references, anything like that, but it is 18 plus. And what ended up happening was a minor somehow got into the account and leaked the image to actual minors outside of the NSFW account, which was completely out of Pumpkin's control. Obviously, this is an unfortunate situation because, of course, Pumpkin could not have known that a minor would lie about their age to access their NSFW account that was strictly set for 18 plus. Lewis then shows a tweet where he claims that Pumpkin was trying to justify this behavior when someone asked him why he would be okay with this picture possibly being seen by 16-year-olds. Now, Pumpkin replies to this saying that in Japan, which is where he is from, this is considered normal, and claims that this is just a part of normal anatomy in a lot of animes and shows. So Pumpkin addressed this by saying he was not trying to justify this, but rather offer an explanation for why at first it didn't seem so weird or alarming to him that a minor might.
I don't know, all the weeaboos and Ameriboos and all of them, I disavow entirely. I just can't. I have no interest in any of that shit. I think it's very odd. They have like a very odd culture around like sex and shit over there, but I mean, like, cultural differences acknowledged, you could say like, yeah, it's fucking weird. And that's not how like people do shit in the West. But like, again, that's all inconsequential to any of this because it's like, what it comes down to is that was posted on his not safe for work Twitter account. Like, he posted it on a not safe for work place that was properly identified, right? So
possibly see this photo. Obviously, he didn't intend to have any minors see it in the first place, but once it had been leaked outside of the NSFW profile, of course.
Lolly isn't just strange. Lolly is degenerate, pedophile, coomer material. That's a totally different fucking can of worms. But just like in general, like cultural differences don't necessarily like negate morality, right? Where like if I say like in some cultures it's okay to take child brides. Obviously, I would say that's wrong, even though. But I can say like in that culture they think it's okay to like identify like the difference in opinion and position. I can still say that that's like something that's wrong, right? But nonetheless, I think that all of that again is like completely fucking inconsequential because he posted this to his 18 plus private not safe for work shit. So like I don't know why the fuck like it's even an issue because it's like he posted that privately on the not safe for work thing, like it was filtered appropriately. So I don't know.
Minors did in fact see it, and when he was called out for this, rightfully so, because even as an explanation, it's still not a justification. He deleted it. He deleted the tweet. He realized he was wrong and he deleted it. Like I said, even as an explanation, this is still pretty unacceptable, right? But it seems as though Pumpkin actually did take responsibility and realized he was in the wrong versus what Lewis is saying, which is that he tried to defend it. So Lewis cites another example by showing a screenshot of a suggestive drawing that Pumpkin had made. Now, people were commenting under this photo,
more sexy
just
pumpkins.
Comments, and he was replying to them. So Lewis claimed that these people in these comments were minors.
Here are a couple comments of him interacting with minors. Like, maybe not knowingly, but he didn't bother to check. There was this picture of him, scarfing on some bread with some cream coming out of it. An innuendo, if you will. Here's what a minor said. I'm not going to read it because that's weird to me. You can't make me do it. I don't want to. But then he responded and said, "Thank you. What is wrong with you? Go to hell, specifically loser hell, but we'll save that for later." Here's somebody saying, "Whose bread is that exactly?" A kid responds, weirdly, and then he likes the comment. And okay, I'll address the fact that he might not know this is a minor, but either way, it strikes a chord with me after knowing what I do know.
Now, once again, Lewis doesn't provide any proof of this. And as it turns out, Pumpkin in his response shows both profiles of the people who he replied to, and nothing on their profile.
Why did Lewis not look any of this shit up? Why did he not look any of this shit up, dude? Like, this is so fucking stupid. This is so fucking dumb. He's just assuming that he's just straight up assuming that it's children that he's talking to. What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck?
Profile suggests that they were minors at all. There is no proof of the age of these individuals. Could they be minors? Perhaps, but we don't have proof of it. And this is once again Lewis making a bold claim that someone is inappropriately engaging with minors with no real proof at all. Now, this is one of the bigger claims and examples. So Lewis cites another example, and in this one, it shows DM messages between Pumpkin and apparently a 12-year-old. These DMs contain sexual jokes, as well as statements that he'd be labeled a pedo and references to his hypersexuality.
He also has an alleged conversation with somebody who is definitely a minor, but the alleged part is that they are 12. Oh, God. Oh, whoa.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
yikesy.
6
all the way down the ladder to literally a baby. You're but a little child, and you're not allowed to talk with them, let alone say all this bullshit. And I'm going to read it in good faith.
Yikesy.
I weirdly want to kiss you. Raise his eyebrow. You know what you do there? And this is Lewis crash course on how not to talk to minors. You don't say anything. You don't say any emojis. Say nothing. Okay? Nothing. That's the crash course. It's over. I mean, is it loud? Sounds like kissing, noise, makes out. Okay? Don't talk to people like that. Especially if they're 12. Grr, give me your censored out. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is censored out. Bro, nah, I'm gonna be canceled and labeled as a P3O. Running away, gassed up emoji. Yeah, buddy. I hate to break it to you. You're gonna be canceled or labeled as a P3O anyways. Right now, mind go wild. I'm gonna be honest, my hands are craving for some Bahanga Gongas right now. How are they so soft and squishy?
Bahanga Gongas?
They fit perfectly in my hand. What? And I'm sure you would try to justify this with being like, I'm hypersexual. That doesn't mean you have to text a minor. You creep. You dirty creep. Ew, get the hell out. Go away. Go to prison or something. I don't know. Hike your ass somewhere else. And that's not it. Can't remember the rest. Teehee, banana, popsicle, cucumber, eggplant, joystick, fiddlestick, third leg, hot dog. Whose horse is that? Horny ass hell. Hypersexuality, go bird. I knew that's what he was gonna do. I knew what I called it. Actually, I actually forgot and I called it cool.
So these messages are very clearly, they're heavily cropped. There's no real identifying information.
So these are the only messages. Okay.
In them. There are no dates, there are no usernames, there are no timestamps. Now, Pumpkin says in his response that he went back in his chat logs and could not find any trace of this conversation ever taking place. Now, with the fact that these are heavily cropped screenshots with no real identifying information, it's hard to boldly make a claim that these were messages engaged with a 12-year-old. But as it turns out, it would later be proven that these were completely false. These were fabricated screenshots. Now, Lewis may not have known this at the time. However, like I said, these were clearly very heavily manipulated, cropped screenshots, and there was no verification that this other person was 12 years old. And in my opinion, that all should have raised a lot of red flags as far as the validity of these DMs. Now, this is where we transition into the claims of Pumpkin lying about his race as well as his body type. Pumpkin has...
This is just like a fucking bizarro world, dude. Like, how are you gonna do all of this and not even, like, check the validity of any of these things. Like, how are you gonna do that? I don't understand. Like, if somebody sends like a bunch of like janky looking fucking screenshots or whatever, if you're the one that's doing all the research for this big fucking video, how hard is it to be like, who sent these? Like, can I get a clearer, like a better, like log of these? Because it doesn't say like who he's messaging. I don't even know. Like hello? Like, why the fuck would you not do that? If you're putting out a hit piece on somebody, should you not, like, I don't know, look shit up beforehand? That makes, like, no fucking sense, dude. That's just so fucking dumb. That's just so fucking dumb.
Claimed to be half black and half Japanese, and in many of his drawings, he depicts himself with a heavier body type. Lewis shows a drawing that Pumpkin's brother had made of him and Pumpkin, where he draws their skin tone to be darker. Lewis then shows a picture of Pumpkin gripping a plushie, where you can see his hands are a lighter skin tone, as well as the fact that they are a bit slender. Lewis claims that anyone with common sense would know that those are not the hands of someone with a high percentage body fat.
All right? What a weird thing, what a weird unsensitive thing to do if you are...
I'm gonna crash out, dude. The hands in this drawing are not fat enough, therefore I think you're doing digital fat face. Like, what the fuck is... I think this was a similar thing that I had an issue with, and I guess obviously now we see the pattern in full circle, so to speak, is like the issue also with the Danky Jabbo thing was that he was just throwing in criticisms that had literally fuck all to do with fucking anything. Like, it's literally just throw as much shit as you possibly can at the wall, and eventually something will stick. That seems to be like the way that he engages with content creation, is like, if I like just fucking machine gun out 27 fucking things that I have an issue with, one of them has to be right. That seems to be the only way that he can engage with like content creation and making hit pieces and shit like that. Because like, if you're making a video alleging that somebody is a fucking pedophile, why would you even take time to sidebar that their like avatar depiction of them or whatever, like the drawing, has skinny hands but they claim to be fat? Them being a pedophile is way more than enough, dude. Like, if you're alleging that somebody is like a pedophile, you don't really need to go into all this. It's like, again, we're literally just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Like, what the fuck, dude?
A chubbier person, okay? That's just, you know? But it turns out that he's not. And that somehow makes it even worse. Here is a picture he claims to have been from his younger brother, illustrating them together, when it is so obviously like his art style and exactly how he draws his OC. And he somehow thinks when he posts pictures of him gripping a plushie, you know, seductively or whatever, his hands look like this. I don't want to stereotype.
He's not even, what?
When he posts pictures of him gripping a plushie, you know, seductively or whatever, his hands look like...
Where? I can't even see it. Is it supposed to be this? Because this isn't a drawing, this is like a fucking picture. I don't understand.
This. I don't want to stereotype and I don't want to be too blatant, but I think anybody with common sense can realize those are not the hands of somebody with a very high body fat percentage.
Today you are on trial. The jury will decide if you are fat. Like, what? Who fucking cares, you little fucking bozo? Who gives a shit? Who fucking cares? Who on earth fucking cares if somebody is online lying about being fat? Who fucking cares? And you're gonna determine all of this from a drawing of them as a sexy pumpkin. Like, this is insane, dude. This is how does this dude have a fucking platform? This is nutso, bro.
Okay.
I find this an incredibly problematic statement, right? First of all, weight distribution is different on everyone. And in fact, you can be someone with a heavier body type who has more slender hands, slender fingers, slender arms, slender legs.
Everyone, show me pictures of your hands really quick. I'm going to determine if you're fat or not. Quickly, everybody send hand pics. We're going to do the fat or not test, okay? And then anybody who's caught lying will be banned.
Right? Weight distributes differently on every single person. This is an incredibly weak and narrow-minded argument that Lewis is making to suggest that this is not in fact his real body type just by seeing his hands alone. And Pumpkin, in his response, is forced to defend the fact that he does have that body type, saying that he is 5'10" and he is not fat, but he is a little chubby. Pumpkin also then says...
Imagine having to make a video being like, no guys, I actually am fat. Like, this is insane. This is insane. This is nuts.
thing saying that he does not have an eating disorder, but does discuss his eating habits, where he states that he will one week eat a whole lot and then eat nothing the next week. So based on that, and obviously I am not a doctor, this isn't some armchair psychology, right? But those seem to be eating disordered habits. And often with eating disordered habits comes with possible body image issues. And to be analyzing his pictures and his hands and claiming that he doesn't have that body type, I just find that kind of gross. I don't know. I think it's very weird to speculate.
It's just so bizarre. It's just like insanely fucking bizarre. Like, why would that ever be something that you even think about? Why? I don't understand. I don't understand this mindset at all. I have never once been like, that is the hand of a fat person. Like, I don't. Do other people think about this shit? Do you guys ever think about like the fatness of other people's hands in relation to their BMI? Does anybody else do it? Am I the weird one because I'm not obsessing over people's fat hands? I don't understand at all.
On people's bodies in general for any reason, quite frankly. I don't even know why this was something that was brought up. I don't know why this was a claim that needed to be addressed. But yeah, to force someone to have to come out about their eating habits and their body and how they actually look, the way they depict themselves. And even if they didn't, right? Like, obviously faking your race is one thing, which we'll get into that in a sec. But, you know, there are things like body dysmorphia where sometimes people might see themselves in a different way than they actually look. Body dysmorphia distorts your reality and your perception of your body. And how do we know that Pumpkin maybe has a...
True, Louis McClung. You have been outwoked. He could have body dysmorphia. He could have a disorder. Ableism detected.
Distorted image of his body. Like, I'm not trying to...
True. Great point, Mr. Pussy. King Charles has the fattest little grippers I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. Like, hot dog doesn't even be... It's like 3 bratwursts together. Like, sewn together in a Frankenstein lab. And he's not fat. He just has fat fucking fingers. So, true. Great point.
To, you know, speculate, but what I'm trying to say is sometimes people depict themselves how they see themselves, and I think it's really unfair.
Ooh, another great point. What if you have a trans person who hasn't had surgery and they depict themselves as being post-op? Is that a lie? Should we get out our torches and pitchforks? Should we flay them alive in the town square, tar and feather them, and make a video about how they're not actually post-op? Ooh, good questions. Good questions all around, you guys. The wokes are fighting.
Fair to say, well, if you don't have this body type, you can't depict yourself in this body type. There is so much more complexity that happens behind those sort of things, and it's just wrong. I don't know. I just find this wrong. Now, as far as his skin tone, as it turns out, the pictures that Louis cites and that many people cited to prove that he was not, in fact, black turned out to be his cousin.
And the fact that he often draws his skin very dark, and also the image he said that I just showed you was from his younger brother, drew them both with darker skin, when in that image, that same image I just showed you, it seems that either he has light skin, which then, you know, whatever, or he might actually just be white. And as a white person, I'm not really allowed to be offended about some...
Who fucking cares? Why is a ginger of all people doing colorism? Like, why? Why? Who cares? Like, does this guy not understand that, like, mixed race people can be, like, light-skinned? Does he not know that? Isn't Logic, like, half black, and that dude's pretty white? Does he just not know that? This is fucking cuckoo bananas.
Somebody pretending to be black. That's not my wheelhouse, but I've seen plenty of people online mad about it, so I thought I'd bring it up.
Apparently, his younger cousin, so Pumpkin had made a paper mache head for his younger cousin, and his younger cousin had their own YouTube channel and Instagram, and they ended up making a character out of this paper mache pumpkin head for his cousin. And at first it was fun, right? But as it turns out, people started to harass and eventually dox his younger cousin, so they stopped playing the character.
That's fucked
now,
up.
Pumpkin shows tons of proof for this, and even shows a screenshot of his very first YouTube video, where in a comment he references and thanks his cousin for their help on the channel. Now, as far as the faking race, that also turns out to be not true. So Pumpkin is in fact half black, half Asian. He ends up showing a picture of his ID, and he goes into a bit of his heritage and background. He says that while he is half black, he does have a lighter skin tone, but that does not invalidate the fact that he is half black. And someone should not have to defend this, like, just because of what, a drawing and you comparing skin tones. The thing is, Louis even references the fact that he just might be lighter skinned, but still runs with the idea that he might be faking his race. Okay.
Like, what? This just doesn't make any fucking sense. And then it's not even him, it's his cousin. I just don't even know what to say. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's just so stupid.
Interesting. It's giving the same energy as when Louis tried to explain racism to Yankee Jabo when he said maker.
True.
And it's just like,
true. Woke on woke violence.
So Louis then makes another claim that Pumpkin is into lolly, and he shows a screenshot of a post that Pumpkin had made depicting a character in a sexual position, an anime character. When someone asks that they're a minor, Pumpkin
So I donated $5 through Super Chat. I swear people like Louis McClung treat real people like fictional character designs.
Thank you for the $5 site. Yeah, I would say that, like, Louis McClung needs to go outside. Like, touch grass has been, like, beaten into the dirt, obviously, as a phrase, but, like, he really does just need to, like, fucking go outside. Like, I think that if I ever get to the point where I'm, like, moral frogging over fat hands, I just... And not even, like, fat hands, drawings of fat hands. I think it's time for me to just, like, take a pretty significant fucking internet break. That's fucking crazy.
In response, saying they are 1,000 years old.
Here's a little text conversation he had with somebody about LOLI, which of course he did, trying to justify the crap he apologized for being ignorant about again. You can't be ignorant if you explain yourself and try to justify it, you dumbass. Pumpkin Lad 69, start talking. Running away gassed up emoji. Please tell me that girl isn't a minor. Actually, no. She's over 1,000 years old. Oh yeah, we know exactly.
This is, truthfully though, like one of the dumb fucking things that like a lot of lolly connoisseurs like to do, where it's like literally anybody with 2 eyeballs could identify the picture as like a very obvious drawn to picture of a minor. In like a sexual pose or something like that, and then the lolly connoisseur will go, actually, that's a 3,000-year-old dragon paw, and you're like, shut the fuck up. So this is true. This is correct. This is correct.
We know exactly who you are now. No. There's no use hiding behind a wall of an apology now. You use the line, the classic incel weirdo line of, actually, guys, that underage-looking girl who I absolutely have sexualized and liked a post of somebody being sexualized when they look like a minor. No. They're actually 1,000 years old, and that makes it okay.
This is true.
Now,
this
here's
is
the
true.
thing. In this anime, this character actually is 1,000 years old, but obviously they don't.
Shut up. I don't care. Shut up.
That way. And basically, some of his fans educated Pumpkin saying, hey, this is pretty problematic. A lot of people will use the fact that these characters, despite looking like actual children, are in these animes, quite a few years older to justify their attraction to these younger characters. Once Pumpkin realizes this, he deletes the repost and he apologizes, stating that he does not support or find attraction in that material. Lewis then alludes to the...
So, again, we have another thing where it's like, in Japan, like, this is my 9,000-year-old Dragon Paw anime queen, and then everybody's like, hey, just so you know, like, in the West, or even just generally speaking, that's what a lot of degenerate gooners use to defend their consumption of illicit gooning material that involves children. And then he goes, oh shit, I didn't know that, I'm gonna delete it. Like, what does he want? Does he want him to be, like, killed by the state? Like, what does he want? What does he want? Does he want him to be murdered? What else? Like, he's like, my culture is different and I didn't know, my bad, I'm not gonna do it. Like, don't understand.
The fact that Pumpkin might be faking his hypersexuality to justify his actions, and once again provides no proof of this.
And I want to make it known that I am, every time I'm thinking about his hypersexuality, okay? And I don't want to say something crazy like he might be faking it just to get away with stuff, which is a possibility. But there is always the chance that people fake these things to make it a reality, right?
Now, Pumpkin actually does address some of these claims about his hypersexuality and justifying his behavior, where he shows that he's actually called out many times people who use hypersexuality to justify bad behavior. And Pumpkin even goes on to talk more about hypersexuality and how he experiences it, and it does not at all suggest that he is defending his actions with it, nor does it suggest the claims that Lewis previously made, where he sees his hypersexuality as a sexuality and something to flaunt rather than a disorder. In fact, Pumpkin does describe it as a disorder. So Lewis then shows another interaction between Pumpkin and a fan who asked if they could join their NSFW account, being that they were 17 but they were turning 18 in a few days, to which Pumpkin agreed and let them in. Pumpkin at
bad choice. Bad choice. Just don't. Blanket rule, just don't. Like, bad choice, certainly. Yeah, that was a oof.
time was a couple months older than this person. They had just turned 18, and this person was a few days away from turning 18. And Pumpkin says he didn't see a problem with this, being that they were going to be 18 in a few days.
But here is some literal proof. This is the real proof of him interacting with minors in very inappropriate ways. I'm 17 and turning 18 on the 23rd of August. Am I allowed? I'm working on fan art right now for you. How else would I send it? Sure, why not? Okay, all right, buddy. Okay, all right. You're an adult now. All right, you're an adult now. You have to make these. You have to think about these things. You have to make these decisions. Okay.
Now,
yeah, if it's that soon, just wait a few days, and then also like I would also, you're just kind of like trusting this person saying that they're going to turn 18 in a few days. You obviously don't know that. The best solution here is just don't. That's just like a nope. No. That's a no. Yeah. Pretty easy.
Now, obviously, this was an incredibly stupid move and an incredibly stupid decision to make on Pumpkin's part. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't matter that the person was going to be 18 in a few days. You don't, under any circumstances, allow a minor, even a minor an hour away from turning 18, into your NSFW account. Pumpkin recognizes this in his response, and he apologizes. He knows that he was wrong. Lewis then goes on to claim that Pumpkin's
we shouldn't have done
behavior
it then, I would say.
He is but an example. He is but literally just me showing you that this stuff is happening all over the place, and we have to stay vigilant and diligent to see it, to call people out for it, to hold people accountable, so that the groomer summer of 2024 can go down in history and not continue to be our present.
Look, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not, a Pumpkin defender 100%, right? Clearly, this many instances of mistakes and negligence when it comes to minors is something to be concerned about. It's something to be addressed. However, as we've seen, most of these instances were taken out of context, didn't involve minors, or were just completely fabricated. Some of the most damning evidence that's supposed to prove that Pumpkin was interacting inappropriately with minors does not prove that they were minors. And the most incriminating evidence with him and the 12-year-old in the DMs turned out to be completely fake. And the things Pumpkin did that were genuinely wrong, he took responsibility and apologized for. Again, they were wrong, but he doesn't try to justify it. He admits he was wrong. In every instance, he tries to correct it by deleting whatever he had posted or said. And that's pretty much all you can ask from somebody, is to just do better and correct their mistakes. And once
Jack Thorso donated $5 through Super Chat. I hate this terminally online thing where, even if you take accountability and fix the problem, people are still like, nah, we'll burn you anyway, nail polish.
Nail polish. Thank you for the $5, Jack Thorso. And I agree, because the whole, so everything gets so convoluted when everything is online, clearly. We all have, we don't deserve the internet anymore. Everybody's just been completely inappropriate with the internet. It needs to go away forever. We're all going back to living in huts and shit. Everybody fucked up way too much. But the point of calling people out in this kind of way is, the number one thing is, it's supposed to serve the utility of being a tool for accountability, and then encouraging people to change their behavior. Whether that be out of somebody having behavior brought to their attention that's not appropriate, and they're like, oh shit, that was fucked up. My bad, I'm not going to do that anymore. Or via the method of public pressure and a knee on the neck, right? We're like, hey dude, you have this big platform and you're acting kind of fucking weird. That's a problem, and we're going to say something about it. So regardless, the ultimate conclusion is to get people to take accountability, one, and then two, change their behavior, and stop doing the fucked up shit. And you're right. It seems like there is no correct option for people. It seems like people want to be mad just to be mad. And I would characterize Louis McClung like this to a T, to be completely honest with you, because this is the exact same shit that he did with Danky Jabo, where he didn't care about the accountability. First of all, he didn't have anything to fucking take accountability for, right? It was because it was residual anger over the I'm Alex situation, and he just wanted blood. He wanted to start a fight, and it didn't matter if there was anything to even fight over. He was gonna fight about it. You know what I mean? He's like a heat-seeking autistic missile. When he has something in his head, he will look and look and look until there is a problem, even if it's a problem of his own creation. I definitely get that vibe from him. And there are certainly behaviors that I would consider to be inappropriate in this situation that Pumpkin engaged in. But what do we see after the fact when it's brought to Pumpkin's attention? What do we see after the fact? We see Pumpkin saying, oh, you're right, actually, that was pretty inappropriate, and that was pretty fucked up of me. I'm sorry. I'm going to change my settings. I'm going to delete this post. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's that is what you want out of it. Public lambasting like this is meant to serve as correction and accountability. But even if people correct and they do take accountability, people like Lewis will never be happy, because what they ultimately want is these people to literally defenestrate themselves in public. A true act of seppuku is the only thing that would really satiate this erratic, neurotic bloodlust. Because it's everything that we have seen thus far, and again, I agree that a lot of this behavior is inappropriate and is wrong, and is not something that should be occurring. The person that's being accused and called out for this behavior is you know what? You're right. That was inappropriate of me. I'm sorry. These are the things that I've done to change so it won't happen again, and I'm not acting like that anymore. That's exactly what you want to see happen. And again, battle of the wokies. People that are progressive and people that are on the left generally buy really hard into the idea of rehabilitation and reintegration, where somebody can do fucked up things, and they can atone for those fucked up things. They can learn to be better, and then they can reintegrate into society and go back to living their life after they've atoned for their sins and they've changed their behavior. We're not allowing for that from Lewis McClung's perspective here. And there are certainly people who believe that any kind of, like sex crime or anything like that is the end all be all, you're done. You had one shot, you blew it. Congratulations, you're exiled, redacted, what have you, right? There are certainly people that believe those things about specific crimes, usually sex crimes, which is, I think, fair. I mean, whatever, people have their feelings about it. And I would say that I probably fall more in that camp, truthfully. But if you're somebody who claims to believe in the idea of rehabilitation, reintegration, and that all you care about is accountability and changing of behavior, why are you freaking the fuck out when this person that you're criticizing does exactly what you want? It breaks his brain when he tries to arm twist somebody into changing their behavior into something that he thinks is appropriate. He's like, you're not acting in the way that I think is appropriate. I'm going to put public pressure on you. I'm going to twist your fucking arm until you concede to what I want and start behaving the way that I want. And then when they do it, he's still mad. It breaks his brain. He doesn't think that it's going to work. He doesn't think that he's going to be able to get somebody to concede. So when they do concede, he panics and doubles down, even though they did exactly what he wanted them to do. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Pumpkin came out with this response, responding to all the allegations. The overall consensus towards him was that, okay, we got this wrong for the most part. Clearly, this is not a pedophile. Clearly, this is not a group. This is someone who has had a few instances of comments being taken out of context or being lied about or just making really, really, really stupid, negligent mistakes, which again is still something to be addressed. It is. But running with the narrative that this person is a pedophile with no real substantial evidence to back this up is somewhat dangerous. I wanted to give Lewis the benefit of the doubt, being that this had only really surfaced recently with some of the things that came out with Denki Jabo in that situation, and I was hoping that Lewis would backtrack and apologize, as many of these inaccuracies were addressed and proven to be false or taken out of context. But as it turns out, people had actually been calling out Lewis for these claims 4 months ago when he initially made his video. Now, Lewis has since deleted the video, but he has not issued a public apology, and he actually doubled down when people started calling him out for it, saying he had done 4 hours of research and that he
the king of accountability. It's like, hey, dude, that video that you made about this guy, calling him a fucking pedophile, some of the screenshots are fake, and some of them weren't even posted on his not safe for work fucking, or weren't posted on the 16 and up Twitter account. They were actually posted on his private not safe for work account, it was properly spoiled and shit like that. And he's like, don't care, get fucked, loser. It's like, accountability for thee, but not for me. Base strategy.
He was only relaying allegations. Relaying allegations comes along with making clear implications. Sure.
And Lewis does not know what the word implication means. And therein lies the problem. It was the exact same fucking thing with the Denki Jabo thing, where it was he does not understand what an implication is. If you are going to cover this kind of stuff, she is 100% right. You have to be incredibly clear about what you're implying about people. Because if I make a comparison to somebody and say, this person is like Jeffrey Epstein, there's an implication that comes with that, and that everybody in the room is going to pick up on. Even if I don't say this person is, involved in an international sex trafficking organization or whatever the fuck. Even if I don't say that, the implication is clear that I'm, comparing these two kinds of behavior and saying that they're on the same playing field. And if you're going to make allegations like that, and you want to do it earnestly and with rigor and with virtue and with ethics, the way that Lewis McClung wants to, you have to be really, 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 really clear with those implications, right? And again, we saw the exact same thing before, and we're seeing it here again. He doesn't know what an implication is, and that's a significant part of the problem.
You may just be relaying allegations that are already out there, but on your 300,000 subscriber platform, you have a duty to verify allegations before you make broad claims of things like faking race and body type and things like that.
I would say, I don't think that you have to have the highest standard of journalistic integrity to say that guy's lying about being fat. That's kind of low on the totem pole. But the other stuff certainly, right? If you're making pretty heavy accusations against people, you should be very, very, very intentional with your language to make sure that you're being mindful that you are implicating somebody doing something really fucked up, right?
You don't do your due diligence as a creator, your platform becomes a destructive weapon. Your evidence should be irrefutable if you are making claims such as pedophilia and grooming. It is absolutely dangerous and irresponsible to relay allegations that have little to no real basis to your large platform, where your subscribers entrust in your research and knowledge. You aren't providing justice or a voice to people by relaying allegations. You are simply running with hearsay and weak evidence and trying to paint a darker picture by drawing parallels between Pumpkin and people like Cody Ko and Ava Chris Tyson, who do actually use their platforms to target minors and children. And in those instances, there was irrefutable proof that they deliberately tried to do this. And also, just a very recent example, and I'm just going to touch on this a little bit. Lewis did make a video addressing the drama with Dream and Tommyanit. I think I said that right.
Tommyanit.
I'm not into like Minecraft YouTube as much. I've been looking into that a little bit, but it's
Don't
a lot.
do it,
But I did watch Lewis's video, and a lot of people pointed out that he talked about a claim that was made a couple years ago against Dream, where he was accused of grooming. As it turns out, the girl involved was 18, and the acts between
I forgot about that. Brain blast. He was like in the Dream video. He was like, she was groomed into like basically liking him, but like what happened was they were like courting each other, groomed into liking. Like they were like flirting and like courting each other. You know, like if you meet somebody new and you kind of like flirt with them and you court them, are you grooming that person, or are you just kind of building rapport that will eventually turn into like a romantic or a physical relationship? Like, is every relationship grooming then? Because that's what you're building rapport. Like, this dude is, listen, and I love my virgin kings and queens. Okay, I love you guys. This guy's like a fucking turbo virgin, and it's like, you shouldn't be talking about any of this kind of shit, Chief. You just should not. Because you do an incredible disservice in the way that you talk about it. Like, yeah, it's actually incredibly normal for two adults to send each other messages, like, back and forth, to get to know each other, and they're, like, courting each other. That's how dating works, Lewis. That's what dating is.
them were consensual. And Lewis acknowledges this in his Dream video, but still goes on to make the claim of grooming. That's not how that works.
No.
That is not grooming. Grooming is not a term that you carelessly throw around. And again, this just speaks to the pattern of behavior of false allegations, misrepresentations, drawing parallels between creators that make mistakes to creators that are actual predators and groomers. And like I said, it is dangerous to use your large platform to spread these narratives when you have not done your due diligence and your research. Moving forward, Lewis, you need to be more responsible with how you cover these situations. It is not worth it to jump on a story immediately just to reel in views and engagement, hoping that your allegations and insinuations are right, only to later be wrong and have your credibility shattered. How many times are you going to do this? How many times are you going to make this mistake? When you make a mistake multiple times, it is no longer a mistake. It is deliberate. And I initially assumed that you just did this once with the Cataclysm and Danky Chabo situation, and that it was an isolated event. And that's why I tried to offer you a little more grace than a lot of these other creators. But no, this is in fact a pattern, and it needs to be addressed and it needs to be stopped. Moving forward, Lewis, I hope you from now on take your time when it comes to situations.
He won't.
You don't have to jump on situations right away. You don't have
to
be the
does.
first
He thinks
person
he
to break a
does.
situation.
He
And a
thinks
lot
he
of times
does.
it can be a lot more destructive when you hop on a situation and immediately run with whatever the popular narrative is online, only to later have that be proven wrong. And just to be quite frank with you, Lewis, if you keep doing this, you are going to open yourself up to a defamation lawsuit. You are absolutely going to do that. It might be okay now that you've done this a few times with smaller creators, but let me tell you, you're going to make this mistake with a bigger creator, and they are going to take you to court, and you are going to suffer as a result. So seriously, get it together. Do whatever you need to do to just stop making this mistake and to earn back your trust and your credibility with your subscribers. So that is all I have to say. I just think that's a very important.
Ah, beautiful. We love her. She cooked. She cooked. She was in the kitchen and she was cooking. Yeah. She was cooking. Yeah, I don't know. He should log off. He's worse than Xander Hall. You know, true. Honestly, very true. Yeah, I don't know. I am also surprised that he hasn't caught a defamation lawsuit either, because it's like, I don't know, dude. He's fucking dumb. He is fucking dumb. I'm endlessly upset that he was too pussy to talk to me on stream. He was too pussy. He did the Go-Go Gadget President Run Day, and then was like, no. It's like, oh, okay, dude. Okay. Captain Chicken Shit. That sounds good. Yeah. Ironically, the same due diligence with accusations is exactly that shit Tyler fucked up with Glooby. Well, it's like, if you want to be like a source of journalistic integrity, you have to rise to what that demands of you. I have never once fucking pretended that I am the bastion or the beacon of like perfect coverage, true, like ethical rigor. I've never claimed to do any of that shit. I do like commentary, gluptional coverage of shit that I think is interesting. I've never claimed that. But if I was somebody who said, guys, I'm going to make a really important hit piece. I'm going to expose this person who's a really bad person. It's really important that we do this, that, and the other thing. It's like that would demand such a higher level of integrity from me where like obviously I wouldn't joke around. I wouldn't talk the way that I talk right now. But like that's not what I'm doing. And I don't ever claim to do that. So if you want to be that person, but that you have a higher threshold to meet if that's the kind of content that you want to make. And if you can't rise to that bar, you are going to get roasted fucking endlessly and continually put out dog shit content for other people to just like crucify you over.